Hello and welcome to the Brantley Bank Coaches Show, hosted by Vaughn Forest Church. We talk all things Pike Road Patriots football with head football coach Ed Rigby. My name is Adam Bishop. I serve as the lead pastor at Vaughn Forest Church and the host of our weekly Brantley Bank Coaches shows. Coach, welcome back.
Pastor Adam, thank you for having us. And you said it best when we walked in. This is week 11. We've talked about it since week 0.
That's right.
And now it's week 11.
It is week 11. The playoffs are here.
Yes.
We are fired up to be hosting round 1 playoff game. Obviously, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that today, Coach. But before we get to that, I do want to recap last week. We ended the regular season on senior night with a great home victory against Booker T. Washington, 49-34. Coach, they wouldn't go away. They just kept coming back, but we came out on top in the end.
Yes, we did. Kids played hard. It was senior night. I'm so glad that our seniors got to go out like that. And yes, they wouldn't go away. You know, we kind of helped them. We had 3 turnovers to start the second half. And see, stuff like that happen when you get up. I think it was 35-6 at halftime.
Right.
And when you get up like that, you know, you have a tendency, you know, at every level, people let their guard down. And no offense to them, because they got a couple guys who can go. I remember specifically we had talked in here last week, and I made mention to their quarterback, number 1. And I said, hey, that guy can take it 80 yards, was my exact
on
quote.
Any play.
On any play, anybody we've played against, he can do it. First snap, 80 yards.
Play one.
And there it was. And I'm like, see, I told everybody. I told y'all I could do it. Good job, number 1.
That's right.
And but no, great athlete. Hey, their kid number 2 got an offer from Auburn yesterday.
Good for
you know
him.
what I'm saying? I mean,
that's great.
They have some players. They have some good players. And coach is doing a really good job with them, and they came and they battled. They didn't quit. You know, it'd been easy for them to quit, but they did not. And but we got out of there with a victory. And you know, recapping, you know, the highlights of it. You know, of course, we won, you know, 49-34. Ended the season 6-4. You know, we lost some close games in there and played some really good competition along the way. But you know, we're the second seed, so we have first round playoff at home. Caleb Foster, our quarterback, went 8 for 10 for 75 yards. He threw for 1 touchdown. He rushed for a touchdown. But again, you know, 8 for 10, that's 80% completion rate. And hopefully we can build off that. We need 2 this week, a little bit more. Anthony had 20 carries for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he also had a 76-yard touchdown run, you know, kickoff return. So he ended up with 4 touchdowns, and I think total yards for him was like 264, something like that. And it was nice to have him back, getting back to full speed.
Right.
You know, so we're going to need that obviously going into the playoffs. AT had 7 carries, you know, for 56 yards, and TK Norman, you know, who's a guy we've got back in the last couple of weeks that's been out all year since the first game. He had 4 catches for 57 yards, and he's just a sophomore, so his future is super bright, and hopefully, you know, we'll be able to use him more and more as we go. Jalen Jarrett, Buki had a 9-yard touchdown reception.
That was awesome.
That was kind of the highlight of the night for me. Senior night, you get a touchdown thrown to you, and I didn't even realize he was in when we threw it, and because usually if we slide him in on that, we put him on the other side.
Okay.
And when we run the play, I'm like, does he even know what to do? He's on a different side, and he knew what to do. It's called catch a touchdown, score.
He showed you, Coach, I know what to do.
Buki did a great job, you know, with
That's
that.
great.
And defensively, you know, we blocked a punt, and you know, it's something we've worked on a lot all year, and we were able to get to one. Tormey, big tall Tormey, was the one who blocked it
Right up the middle. That was fantastic.
And AT, you know, scooped it in the end zone there and got the score. Very exciting for those 2 offensive guys over there doing that. Marks Jones led us in tackles with 7. Jalen and JT Hales both had 6 tackles apiece. Stephon and Trey Cavers both had 5 apiece. Tackles for loss, Gavin and Stephon both had 3 of those apiece. You know, they're really, really active, our run defense. Jalen and Marcus Jones and JT both had 2, and Shamar had 1. Those were all, you know, TFL's tackle for losses. Stephon and Gavin both had a sack. Let's see, turnovers. Trey Cavers got an interception, and Jalen, you know, recovered a fumble. So a really, really active night for our defense. You know, and that's good going in the playoffs. Our run stopping looked really, really good because we're going to face a lot of running this week from a team that's very seasoned at it and has a long, rich tradition of being in the playoffs and have won state championships and played for state championships, who has tradition. So we're going to need that run stopping and all of that. But it was a good night. And again, you know, we started with it. It was great to end the seniors' regular season home finale with a senior win.
Yeah.
You know, that was good. And, you know, it kind of capped off, you know, what they've been about. That's a lot of winning. And so the night was beautiful. You know, we did the senior festivities for football and cheer and our student trainers all beforehand. That went really smooth. Everybody was beautiful and dressed up, and it looked really, really nice. And the weather was awesome and had a great crowd. So it was a great night for high school football and a great way to send those cats out.
Right.
And so that was exciting. But, you know, soon as that was over, it's on to week 11.
Right.
You know, everybody's 0-0. All right. Spanish Fort's coming up here. Spanish Fort, long tradition. They've won state championships. They've played for state championships. They compete in the playoffs. They're very battle-hardened and seasoned. They come in with a 7-3 record in their region down there. Those top, you know, they were number 3, but those top 3 or 4 teams, you could have put them in a bag, shaken it up, dropped them out, and they're all, you know, cookie cutters, really, really good of one another, and are very similar in a lot of ways. You know, in their region, they ended up, you know, behind number 1 Theodore and number 4 Saraland. You know, that was their 1 and 2. So, you know, it's a really, really, really good region, maybe the best 6A region in the state of Alabama. Their head coach is his first year there, Chase Smith. And he's done a really good job keeping up with them and pushing it forward. We've had a good week of preparation. You know, we're still fighting a little bit of that bug. You know, I had 2 this morning. Of course, they were younger guys. You know, with the flu symptoms and just that stuff still rambling around. And we've had a couple starters out missing like a day. And luckily, they weren't flu; they were more just sinus infection type stuff.
Okay.
You know, and you know, steroid shot and a pack. You know, the steroid pack, and you know, a day or 2 they're back and they're fine. So that's a blessing. But you know, Lord willing, we'll be up to full steam tomorrow night. Lord willing, you know, the hard practicing, which they are practicing hard too. You know, everybody does at this point, will pay off. And you know, we were able to polish some things at practice. The Tuesday and yesterday, there were some pieces of practice where we worked on short yardage stuff. That was the most physical stuff that we've done since I've been there. The kids were very physical. It's like a light switch has flipped. That, hey, it's playoffs. This is what we do. You know, they've responded really, really well. I'd said this on a little radio show night before last. It's weird because, like, the locker room mysteriously is all of a sudden a lot cleaner, you know, like when I left just then. And, you know, from this morning's workout and yesterday after practice and the morning before, it's these little things that you've been harping on all year, all of a sudden are kind of done, you know. Kids getting out there on special teams first time, not having to look for where's so-and-so, oh, you know, none of that stuff. But it was really, really physical. And I saw some good things. And that's what week 11, it's just like a bowl game in college. You know, colleges love the bowl game stuff because their younger kids get those extra weeks of practice and they get to be part of that experience where it's just, this is our expectation. This is what we do at Alabama, you know, wherever. This is what we do. And, you know, there's some young guys, you know, Akeem Blackman, for example, the last 2 days, and I've talked to him both days, you know, after practice or like this morning, when you go back and watch the film, who is a sophomore who really, really raised some cane out there on scout defense. You know what I'm saying? Ran to the ball, laid some licks out there. And you know, Braylon Outlaw, who's a freshman, Corey Timms, who's a sophomore, some guys who aren't in starting roles, they're in special team roles, or they're younger guys who got up and really, really went and got into it this week and got that extra week of practice and saw some things like in moving forward, like, oh, those are the building blocks of our programs, these kids, you know? So that was a really, 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 really good thing. And, you know, so it's been a good week of prep. Things that will be, you know, slightly different. You know, we got a few things we've worked on for weeks that we've not ran. Okay. And you know, we were trying to refine them and get them just right. So we will do a few things on offense, you know, that we've added into the fray, taken some things out and went to focusing on, okay, all season, what are the things we've been the best at? You know, in our spread, in our goal line sets, in all of that different stuff, what have we been the most consistent in? You know, hey, this play's average 6 yards a carry for us all year. Well, we need to run that more now. Right. And so we've tried to hone in on some things offensively that, this is our bread and butter. This is our best stuff. Let's go into battle with it. Let's dance with who brought us to the dance, and not went off on some things of let's add this, add that. But there are some things that we have worked on for a couple of weeks that we will run tomorrow night. We will do offensively. Defensively, we're going to do our thing, and our thing is bringing pressure. And, we've got a really good front that's good at that initial boom, stop in the run. They are a team that runs a lot of 2-by-1 with two backs in the backfield. So it's a lot of run set, a lot of outside stretch, outside zone. That's really their bread and butter, and they do a lot of stuff off of it. They do it really, really well. They have no superstars per se. They've just got a bunch of good high school football players and kids who can play. And now on defense, they have a couple guys on the front, a big 3 tech and a big defensive end who are special, very special. And the other guys are hard-nosed, tough, and they'll be tough up in there. But along the way, throughout our season, we've seen teams with those guys. We've seen very similar things, and you learn from when you play those guys, hey, this doesn't work as well. This works a little better. And so in thinking back through our season, everything prepares you for week 11. We've tried to look at things, how can we attack those top players, a big 3 tech and a big 6'6", 225-pound defensive end that's common every play. How can we take advantage? And teams like Carver with Russaw and those guys kind of help prepare us to know, hey, okay, you can't run around that, won't be able to do that. So let's do this. And so our season's prepared us in a lot of ways, but we're going to see they're really good at special teams. They're just sound. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. Remember, it's just like I said, hey, that number 1 for Booker T can take it 80 yards on anybody. Remember this. 0 turnovers, we win tomorrow night. That's what this is going to come down to. 0 turnovers, Pike Road wins. 0 turnovers, Pike Road wins. And, it's going to be a great night atmosphere-wise. And, it's a special because it's different. It's regular season's over with. This is the playoffs.
Yeah.
You win, you're in. You lose, you cruise.
Yeah.
You keep going. And it changes everything about how you approach things. And hopefully the things that we've learned in the past 10 weeks, we've refined them and we go into this playoffs hitting on all cylinders.
That's great.
And that's our thing. And while we're kind of in the middle of that, it'll be a beautiful night. I want to give a shout out to somebody. Javier. Javier is one of our students. He's also in the band who watches this show every week and will come back and critique and tell me, hey, Coach, I heard you say this. I heard you say that. I'm going to look for this. And, Coach, this guy's really good. That you said, But, Javier, I'm giving you a shout out. I said, I'm going to give you a shout out next week. Friday, right when I get back to school.
That's
by the time
great.
we got this up, first time I see him in the hallway, here he comes. Coach, I saw the show, And so, Javier, there's your shout out. I promised you I would do it, brother. And there it is. And but it's awesome to have some fans like that.
It is.
People who follow this show.
Yeah.
And but it's been a great year. Obviously, we wanted more wins along the way. But again, if that prepared us and prepped us and made us tougher, made us harder, and we were able to learn from it, hey, there are no records now.
That's right.
Everybody's 0-0. We mentioned that earlier. So, hey, you can throw all that out the window. It's about the here and the now. And but I'm excited. I'm excited for our kids, for our Pike Road community. I'm excited. And, it's funny because when you go to the AHSAA, what happens is when you finish that last game, week 10's over with. If you make the playoffs, you all go to this meeting. All the coaches are there, head coach, and usually one other person from your school. And they go through all the rules and all this. All right, you got to use GoFan. You got to do this. You got to escort your referees with police officers to and from the field for safety. They go over all. It's all in writing. Big old package you get. In that packet's the playoff brackets for every single thing. It's a big old long sheet of paper. They're different colors, and it'll have this team's record or what they who's where and all this, who's home. So it's really, really a weird deal. It's very old school because you're in the room and let's say they get to 6A. They've went through every class. You've sat through every class, dialing on your phone and whatever. You get to 6A. And they go in there and, okay, they get to our game. And they'll call out, all right, Pike Road, is at home, playing Spanish Fort, and you stand up. Well, the thing is, you tell your school, okay? You tell your record. You tell what, where the game's going to be played. Like, okay, it's going to be played in Montgomery, Alabama, at Crampton Bowl, whatever. And it's so funny because everybody's like the city, okay? Like Jarrell, you follow Alabama, 7 o'clock Friday night, November the 4th, we'll be at Tiger Stadium, blah, 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 field, blah, you rattle all this stuff off. And I get up there and, not saying, Pike Road Community and blah, 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 and everybody's like, what? It's nice to see. Pike Road Community, and we'll be at Patriot Field and blah, blah, blah. And so, it's different. We're a community, and that's really neat. And I know everybody's going to show up tomorrow night for the showdown. I say this every week, okay? Last year, they didn't bring as many people as I expected them to bring. Let me tell you something. Spanish Fort is going to show up tomorrow night. There is no questions. They're going to roll in there with charter buses. They're going to have some kids. Trust me, if you don't get there early, you're not getting a seat. You're not. They are going to travel. And, with us having every single game that they've played this year, when they're the visitors, for example, when they're on the other sideline and they're playing, McGill to whoever, you can look over there, like Robertsdale was towards the end of the season. You can look over there and see what kind of crowd they have. Now, I know that's not real far for them in those places, but every game you look over there and it's just packed. Mm-hmm. And some of them are big stadiums, So get here early because it is going to be full. And a lot of that would be just getting in, which the way they've done it now, we've talked about this, is way better. Moving in, moving out. To be able to get into the stadium is a lot better. But you don't want to get caught up in that line because, again, they've never been here. So they'll be trying to get in this way, that way, and this backs up. So get there early. Get your seat. It's not going to be hot. High tomorrow, I think it's like 79 or something. And it's only going to be, in the low 70s, 60s, while we play. Just that perfect weather where you don't break much of a sweat if you're out there playing. You'll break some, but not a whole bunch. And as a spectator, it's super comfortable. We're going to be in the all red tomorrow. Haven't done that one. White helmet, all red, and red top, red bottom.
I like it.
And when you get to playoffs, we'd kind of had it in those little things, we post on, Facebook and Twitter and MySpace. And for those who still following that, and the things that we I don't know if we post on MySpace or not.
Instagram, Coach.
Instagram. Yeah, Instagram. Is it Instagram? Okay, I guess okay. And but anyway, the we made all of them in advance. The folks who make them, and we get the playoffs. They're not made yet. So I went to two of the kids and two of the senior leaders and like, hey, if we could wear anything this week, what would it be? And both of them are like, let's go all red.
Love it.
Let's go all red. And both of them said the same exact thing. And so I'm like, all right, we're going all red then. And so that's what we get tomorrow night. And it's just going to be a beautiful night for football. And we seem to be some guys who've been a little bit dinged up seem to be a little bit better right now.
Good.
So that's going to be huge for us. It's going to be huge and exciting. And there are some stuff we're going to do that I can't wait to see live against somebody else.
Awesome.
And we're not talking about tricks. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the ebb and flow of the game, going in and out of some things that I can't wait to see tomorrow night. I'm kind of excited about it. And hope our kids getting better early tonight. Been telling them to, and but you know how that goes with a 16, 17, 18-year-old, and hopefully they do get their rest and get fed up tonight and hydrated and dream the dreams of football, and it's going to be special. It's going to be special.
That's awesome. Well, Patriot Nation, you heard Coach. I mean, it's the playoffs. This is step one towards another state championship. We need you. 7 o'clock is the kickoff. We're putting the link up right now. Go ahead, get your tickets purchased. Get there early. Coach, we get there early. You buy a burger from the concession stand. You watch the team warm up before the game. Good music's playing over the loud system. It's a great evening for high school football. And then we will have that stadium packed when kickoff starts. And we're going to cheer on our Patriots to the victory in the playoffs. So, Coach, we're excited about tomorrow night. Thanks for being here today, and go Patriots.
Adam, thank you so much. Go Patriots.